The first federal charges stemming from a massive fraud investigation into Minnesota autism centers and a connection to Feeding Our Future.
America, we just got the first federal charges in what prosecutors are calling a massive $2 billion autism fraud scheme that's been ransacking Minnesota taxpayer-funded programs. Asa Farhan Hassan, a 28-year-old woman, has been charged with running a $14 million scam where she paid Somalia families to lie about their perfectly healthy children having autism. But here's the kicker. This is the same woman who also pocketed nearly $500,000 from the Feeding Our Future scandal. And get this, a brave whistleblower on TikTok exposed how these criminals were billing hundreds of thousands in his name while he was living in Kenya.
We start here at 6 with a newly filed fraud case, the first from federal prosecutors after an investigation of Minnesota autism centers. It's also connected to the Feeding Our Future investigation.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This story perfectly illustrates how these government programs have become ATM machines for organized fraud rings, while real families with autistic children can't get the services they desperately need. Let me break down why this case is so significant. Asa Farhan Hassan isn't just another fraudster. She's patient zero in what federal prosecutors are calling a web of corruption that stole over $2 billion with a B from Minnesota taxpayers. This woman was running Smart Therapy LLC, supposedly providing autism services for children, but it was a massive lie.
Asha Farhad Hassan is the 76th Feeding Our Future defendant. She's the first autism centers defendant, and if you listen to interim U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson or Hassan's attorney, she's not going to be the last.
Here's how calculated this scam was. Hassan was recruiting Somalia families and paying them kickbacks ranging from $300 to $1,500 per month per child to falsely claim that their healthy kids had autism. Think about that for a second. These parents were getting paid over $1,000 a month to lie about their children having serious developmental disorders.
It says the company recruited families to sign up their kids and then made sure they got an autism diagnosis. After that, they billed Medicaid for the maximum possible without providing much of anything in the way of services.
But it gets worse. Hassan wasn't just running one scam. She was double dipping. While stealing $14 million from autism programs, she also pocketed $465,000 from the Feeding Our Future scandal. This woman was literally running multiple fraud schemes simultaneously, treating taxpayer programs like her personal piggy bank. You know what else is crazy? While we're talking about criminals exploiting government healthcare programs to steal millions of dollars, there's another healthcare system where people are getting taken advantage of all the time: Medicare. If you're 65 or older, you've probably dealt with people trying to game the system or push you towards plans that benefit them instead of actually helping you. This is exactly why Chapter is different. Unlike Minnesota fraudsters who exploit vulnerable families, Chapter connects you with trusted advisors who actually work for your benefit, not the insurance companies. No scams. They won't manipulate you into expensive plans that make them more money. Just honest guidance to help you find Medicare coverage that actually protects you. What makes Chapter trustworthy is their complete transparency. Their advisors take the time to understand your specific situation, explain all your options honestly, and help you make the right choice. Whether you're new to Medicare or thinking about switching, they give you the real facts without any manipulation. If you want someone who actually protects you instead of trying to exploit you like these criminals, call 270-467-0614 or go to askchapter.org/Tyson. That's askchapter.org/Tyson. Don't let anybody take advantage of you. Get the honest help that you can trust. Now back to the TikTok whistleblower who exposed this fraud. Now here's where the story gets interesting. A man named Muhammad Ali, no, not the boxer, who's currently living in Kenya, discovered something shocking when he requested his insurance billing records. In just 9 months, a company called Action Therapy LLC had billed $211,000 in his name, and he never even heard of them before.
So there's this company that billed under my insurance named Action Therapy LLC. They're based in Minnesota.
A Minnesota man takes to TikTok.
So what did Mohammed do? He took to TikTok and exposed the entire scam. This brave man started posting videos showing fraudulent billing records, and his videos went absolutely mega viral. He was literally doing the job that Minnesota Department of Human Services should have been doing a long time ago, catching fraud and protecting taxpayers.
He discovered in just 9 months, between August of 2024 and May 2025, Action Therapy billed $211,000. It was not all approved, but the records show they were paid nearly $85,000, he says, for doing nothing.
They running up them digits, man.
The company tried to cover up their tracks by claiming it was a clerical mix-up and promising an internal review, but Mohammed wasn't buying that BS. He kept posting, kept exposing, and kept fighting for accountability. This is what real citizen journalism looks like. Someone who refuses to let criminals steal from taxpayers. What Muhammad Ali uncovered wasn't just one bad company. It was part of a massive network of fraud. Action Therapy LLC was operating out of the, get this, exact same address as Liberty Plus, another company that was already raided by federal agents for the housing stability fraud.
When KARE 11 first started investigating back in June, this was their website. It claimed they are psychotherapists. Right away, we found red flags. Action Therapy's website listed their non-working phone number as 012-345-6789. Then, their website went dark.
Think about the audacity here. Criminals were running multiple fraud schemes out of the same $300 per month office space. They had fake websites and non-working phone numbers like 012-345-6789. And when investigators tried to call, they got messages saying,
"Sorry, that mailbox is invalid."
This was organized crime, folks. They're using stock photos of people labeled as caregiver name on their website, hanging posters on bus stops and gas station bathrooms to recruit victims, and billing hundreds of thousands of dollars for services that were never provided. Here's what really makes me mad about this whole situation. When investigative reporters asked the Minnesota Department of Human Services for billing dates on these autism programs, the same type of data that exposed over $100 million in the housing stabilization fraud, the state has been stonewalling for 4 freaking months.
4 months ago, we asked the Minnesota Department of Human Services to provide us ARMS billing data, the same type of data we've used to expose widespread fraud in other DHS programs like housing stabilization, certified peers, and addiction recovery. The law says that they have to provide it in a reasonable amount of time. Again, Rena, it's been 4 months, but they haven't given us this data. We're still waiting here.
4 months. The law says they have to provide this information in a reasonable amount of time, but they're clearly trying to hide the scope of this fraud. Why? Because they know it's going to show that billions of taxpayer dollars have been stolen while they were asleep at the wheel. Meanwhile, acting U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson is warning that the level of fraud in these programs is absolutely staggering. He's investigating not just autism programs, but also housing stabilization and other state programs that have become fraud magnets.
The feds are investigating for rampant fraud as he announced federal wire fraud charges in the wake of KARE 11's investigation into the housing stabilization program.
The level of fraud in these programs is staggering.
Hassan's defense attorney actually said something that reveals the whole problem. He called this a perfect storm where business owners take advantage, community members take advantage, and the government fails to provide proper oversight.
He said she really kind of initially intended to do good here, but like a lot of other people who get involved in these programs, she got wrapped up, she saw loopholes, and she jumped through them.
Let me be clear what the perfect storm really is. It's a system designed to be exploited. When you have billions of dollars flowing through programs with minimal verification, no real auditing, and bureaucrats more concerned about political correctness than protecting taxpayers, you've created a criminal paradise. Hassan was hiring uneducated and untrained friends and family to provide fake autism services while paying kickbacks to parents. She was billing for feeding up to 1,200 kids every day through the Feeding Our Future scam while simultaneously running an autism scam. Here's the most telling part of this whole story. Hassan's attorney says she's planning to plead guilty and cooperate with federal investigators. She says she wants to make it right and knew that she did something wrong.
Ryan Pasiga is her defense attorney, and he told me she's probably going to plead guilty custody in the next few weeks.
Sometimes you got to know when to hold them and you got to know when to fold them. And she wanted to make it right. That was in her heart. She knew that she had done some wrong.
But here's my question. If she wanted to make it right, why didn't she stop stealing millions of dollars from programs designed to help disabled children? Why didn't she stop when she was already stealing from the Feeding Our Future program? This woman was running a criminal enterprise for years. The fact that she's cooperating tells me one thing and one thing only. There's a bigger fish to fry. Hassan is just the first domino to fall in what prosecutors are calling a massive web of fraud. She's going to give up everyone else involved in this $2 billion theft from Minnesota taxpayers. America, this story shows exactly what happens when government programs become more focused on political correctness than protecting taxpayers. While real families with autistic children struggle to get services, criminal organizations are stealing billions by exploiting the system. Muhammad Ali, sitting in Kenya, did more to expose this fraud than the entire Minnesota Department of Human Services. A TikTok user with billing records accomplished what an army of bureaucrats couldn't or wouldn't do. Hassan faces up to 20 years in prison and $250,000 in fines, but she stole over $14 million just from one program. The math ain't math in here. These criminals need to face real consequences, not slaps on the wrist. The good news is federal prosecutors are treating this like the organized crime that it is. With Hassan cooperating and more charges coming, we're finally going to see some accountability for this massive theft. But here's the real question. How many more billions have been stolen from programs across the country? If Minnesota alone has $2 billion in fraud, imagine what's happening in California, New York, and Illinois. This is exactly why we need President Trump's plan to audit government spending and eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse. Stories like this prove we're not talking about isolated incidents. We're talking about systematic theft that's costing taxpayers billions of dollars. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.